Rahubat. How are you?
Doing my best. How are you?
I am great. It's good to hear your voice. My name is Myron Moore, and I am from Birmingham, Alabama, in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And first, I just would like to say I appreciate everything that you and your brethren are doing. The information is very solid. Not only that, it's very infectious. I do want to ask you one question, and I actually have just a little patience with me because I want to explain something to you that has been a anomaly. I said that
Sure.
wrong. A anomaly that has been happening to me since I was a little boy. And I think the last occurrence I had was back in 2017. If you would allow me, I'm going to explain this
Sure.
as quickly as I can, but I want to make sure I touch on certain things. And my only question I can ask now, and you can answer after you hear it, is what do you think is going on with me, or have you heard anything like this ever occur?
Right.
Okay, so let me begin. So my first recollection or my first memory of this ever happening, I was in fourth grade, uh, roughly 7, maybe 8 years old. And I remember it was on a very stormy day, and I was in Chicago, Illinois. I was coming home from school on a school bus, and I remember I used to be very rambunctious, but on this particular day, I was very quiet. I was very succinct. And I remember sitting at my window in the school bus, gazing out my window. And of course, there was a big storm going on in the area, and there was a bunch of clouds in the sky, lots of lightning, lots of thunder. But I remember falling into this gaze, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having this feeling overcome me, and I felt like maybe I think now that I think back now, it was my intuition that was speaking to me. But as a young boy, this overcoming feeling of something was about to happen uh, came over me. All of a sudden, within inches from my face, right outside of the glass of the bus, a large lightning bolt struck directly in front of my face. I could see the width of the bolt, and if I could have reached out and just touched it with my hand, it was that close to me. But it happened in a millisecond. There were some children on the bus that actually saw when it actually struck at that particular time. And like I said, I had this feeling that overcame me that something was about to happen. Now, from that point moving forward, I've had vague memories of lightning bolts striking directly next to me that have occurred in my past as I grew. But because the moment would happen so fast within milliseconds, it was easy for me to get until it happened again. And then I would remember, hey, I've had this happen to me throughout life. Now, let me skip up into 2017. Okay. So as I said, throughout my life, this has been happening, right? I would always have lightning bolts strike directly next to my body within a close proximity range where I could touch it with my hand if I knew it were coming. That's how close it was. But it has never ever struck me or never ever harmed me, and I've always had an overcoming feeling that something was about to happen. Now, as an older man, I want to tell you about the last two incidents that I had happen with this, and they were very prevalent. Okay, so the first to the last incident that I had in Alabama, I was back in 2017. I was standing on the porch on my grandmother's porch. Okay, she has three steps that comes up to her porch, and then at the base, at the first step, is the actual roof of the ceiling the roof of the house that meets the first step. If you were to look at the house, right? I was standing at the top of the third step, and throughout the day, it had been thunderstorming, it had been raining, there had been a lot of activity in the sky. But I remember standing there at the top of the step, looking at this enormous cloud above my house. And it was really, really big. And there was a storm that had subsided, right? So I noticed something about this cloud that didn't make sense. I kept seeing all these lights going off in the cloud, lightning. It looked like it was lightning going off in the cloud. But usually when you have lightning, you have thunder. But there was no thunder. There was just a bunch of lightning. And for some reason, the lightning in the cloud, it looked artificial to me. It's something about it didn't look right. Something about it looked fake. And I remember falling into this state where I felt like I was daydreaming for a second. And then that feeling overcame me. I had something come over me, and it started overpowering me, right? And then the next thing I knew, a lightning bolt struck, because lightning comes from the ground up. A lightning bolt struck right in front of me as I stood on the step, enough for me to see a change from light to orange, and it was right there in front of me, and it didn't startle me. So I ran into the house after the bolt struck. My wife came out on the porch, and I stood in front of her. I ran 6 or 7 feet into the house on the inside porch, and I said, "Baby, remember when I told you when I was little that these lightning bolts would strike?" As soon as I said the word strike, another lightning bolt struck, and it was aligned with my body. It followed me from where I was on the outside porch to the inside porch, and it struck as close as it could to the house, aligned with my body as soon as I said the word strike. Right. Now, the very last time this happened, and I'll wrap this up with you so I can get your thoughts, and I would love for you to just kind of just tell me what you think.
Sure.
The very last time this happened, I was at my apartment. This must have been a year and a half later. I was at my apartment. I was sitting in my master bedroom with my wife on the bed, right directly next to the window. And my daughter was outside having a smoke break on the porch directly outside my window. It was a thunderstormish day that day. All of a sudden, we heard a loud bang. Okay, my daughter ran in the house, and she said, "Dad, a lightning bolt almost struck me." And I was like, "Really? Are you okay?" And she said, "Yeah. Remember you told me that happens to you? I wonder if it's happening to me." And I said, "All right, that's interesting." But I said, "Where did it strike?" She said, "It struck right outside your window." And I said, "Wait a minute, what? Outside my window?" That's exactly where I was sitting in my master bedroom when we heard the loud bang. It struck directly at me right outside my window, as close as it can get to me. But they never ever harm me. I don't know if it's something innate within me. I don't know if there's some type of communication that's been trying to reach me since I was a child. I don't know what it is. What do you think?
Okay, let me address it for you. I was just gonna say there's probably haters like waiting in the chat and waiting trying to call like this brother's taking so long. Let's get to the question.
I had to explain it to you.
No, I got you. Maybe you're supposed to be the new Black Flash. No, I'm joking. Seriously though, the okay, so people's personal experiences are really their personal experiences, and we do get a lot of people calling us asking us about, I had this experience, I had that experience, can you explain it? Or I had this dream. And we always say to them, we're not those types of people in churches who be like, we would probably be millionaires if we were like gonna start, oh, I can interpret your dream and tell you what happened to you. So we say, look, your experience is your experience. However, you definitely, in terms of what you were saying about the lightning in the clouds, the master teacher wrote books years ago called Mystery Clouds. Are there UFOs in your midst? And another one, quite a few, but he was explaining, and you got it right when you said, because most people don't study lightning to see what causes lightning, why does it occur, what's the sound that it makes, what color is the flash, many things to do with actually lightning. Just like we say, study meteorites, study certain things. So when somebody's telling you this is actually this, you're like, no, but meteorites don't behave like that. They don't give that color. They don't change their trajectory. I'm saying that to say that there are many crafts, extraterrestrial crafts, and in the skies that they have those lights, and there are wars that are going on, right, between different extraterrestrials. um, in the skies, on the planet, in the seas, pretty much everywhere as it is on the planet, with wars happening mentally, spiritually, physically. So it seems like, you definitely have some kind of connection with lightning. And in ancient times, we have many deities in terms of nature that are, connected with different types of phenomena in nature, like we would say Shu, which deals with, the air, or Tefnut, which deals with
Hmm.
moisture, or, Ra deals with the sun. So I think the more you start to study and to learn about yourself by way of Wu-Sabat and the information that the master teacher has put out, you will learn and get to know more about yourself and what, powers or gifts more appropriately you may have. But definitely the thunders and the clouds, that's extraterrestrial crafts that use the cloud to kind of cloak themselves or hide themselves, or, like, so people can't.
Do you think something's following me? Has been following me since I was a child?
It's possible, because what these extraterrestrials can do is, because again, many people that have had different experiences with extraterrestrials, they get, what do you call, like, probes, and they get like little chips and things put in them so they can follow them and monitor them. Some may even have some kind of relationship or connection with them, because you do have, and they've also shown you this depicted in movies, you do have people, extraterrestrials, that have come and had sexual relationships with humans and have produced, offspring that are on the planet. The case of the Jesus story in the Bible, for example, where he was, you know, caught between two worlds.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand this, but even in Genesis 6:4, when it talks about Nephilims and these beings coming down and having, it tells you they basically had, sexual relationships with the females and produced offspring. And to be able to do that means that the DNA has to match. So none of what you're saying is like what people. Some people will look at certain things like, oh, you're crazy, you're loopy, or whatever, if they've not had the experience.
Yeah.
But everybody has many different types of experience. It's just that within the society and religion, you haven't been given the platform or the comfortability to be able to express yourself and talk about these things, because
Right.
you're made to feel like there's something wrong with you when they just can't explain what's going on. So Wu Sabat is very familiar with all these types of things and stories, and nothing's really a surprise to us, because remember, when our master teacher came on the scene, a lot of what he was saying, to some people, they were thinking this is mad, this is crazy, but to others, it just, like myself, it just hit home. It was so real. It just was so.
Right.
I just knew that you didn't have to tell me anything, and it just led me to the journey of wanting to know more, and
Same here.
studying and reading, and it's the same when I speak to a lot of people, because there are people on the planet who are the descendants or children of these
Hmm.
the ancient ones, and the time has come back around where they're getting reactivated, and people are calling
Yeah.
it an awakening. They're calling it a consciousness. They're calling it ascension. They're using all these names to explain the phenomena that's going on, which is you're waking back up to who you really are. And Wu-Sabat is here to help facilitate. And don't get me wrong, there's some people out there that they take all kinds of drugs or psychedelics or this and that. They may have certain experiences, but you genuinely can tell when someone is being truthful about the experience. But at the end of the day, it is your experience, and in time you will find out and know, especially if you happen to be able to be in front of the master or have the opportunity to be around him, and he would just tell you. So I
Right.
would say, yeah, get involved, get your discipline together, start studying, and come close to Wu-Sabat and just keep
Thank
studying.
you.
You're welcome. All right,
Thank you.
I'm gonna move on because there are lots of people waiting. But yeah,
I know.
thanks for
Take
your
care,
call.
man. I appreciate you.